Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome for the Saturday Bhakti Shastri class. We'll start. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuram militam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्वं हम वंदे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणम्. Hare Krishna. So welcome to our yet another session of the Bhakti Shastri. So we will be starting from chapter number 5 today, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Let me just share the screen with you. Give me a minute. Yeah, so if we see over here, so we'll be starting a totally new chapter today. And yeah, so I'll just give a brief recap of what is happening till chapter 5 and a little further also. So in Arjuna's mind, there were two options, action and renunciation. So Krishna told him about how there can be renunciation in action. And these two, action and reaction, they need not be opposite. It can be integrated also. It need not be actually, you can say, separated out. So when Krishna spoke, how action and reaction both can be clubbed or integrated, then the question comes up that is it that action alone will ultimately lead to liberation? So the question would be that, so karma yoga alone can lead to liberation. It can, when a person is practicing karma yoga, eventually that person can renounce the world and go to the forest. So when the person is a grihastha, he lives in the world and acts in karma yoga. But later on, when this same person takes vanaprastha and sannyas, the person may not be acting in karma yoga. So that time the person may take up, Gyan yoga or Ashtang yoga, and the person may take up, full-time bhakti also. That, of course, that can vary also. So the way Krishna has explained uh, karma, by karma alone one can take up liberation. That means that one can stay in a liberated state even while practicing one's work. But eventually, when you say as a varnashram progression is there, then one will renounce the world. So when one renounces the world, one does not at that time to complete the process uh, mm, um, one does actually at that time to complete the process towards liberation. So Krishna is telling here that instead of Gyan Yoga, Krishna has already told Dukham Aptu Ayogatah. So Krishna said that if one is not practicing Karma Yoga, then one will get only Dukha or misery. So here Krishna is saying that if one wants to practice liberation, one should practice Ashtanga Yoga. And it has been described also. And it is now actually Ashtanga Yoga will be more elaborately explained in the 6th chapter, of course. But there will be, there he will talk about how to renounce the world through Ashtanga Yoga. And in the last verse of the same chapter, Krishna will talk about Bhakti Yoga. And then again, Bhakti Yoga will be in detailed explained from the 7th chapter to the 12th chapter. So this is like, the progression in the first 5 chapters where Krishna has established for Arjuna that action is better than renunciation, karma is better than Gyan Yoga. And when he does Karma Yoga, then eventually he wanted to renounce the world. That time he can practice Ashtanga Yoga, or then he can practice Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga can be continuously practiced. He need not have to change the process. So that Bhakti Yoga will speak in the 7th chapter, from the 7th chapter. So now, a little brief glimpse about Ashtanga Yoga that Krishna gives over here. So, the 4th chapter, Gyan Yoga or the Transcendental Knowledge, this is actually a sandwich between chapter number 3, Karma Yoga, and chapter number 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. And that is why chapter number 5, very, very, very conveniently, it is being named as a Gyan Karma Sannyas Yoga. So this means that by Gyana only, by knowledge only, one understands how to do karma in such a way that one renounces within this karma. So it is sannyas in karma, not sannyas of karma. Right? So chapter 5, you can say Krishna is going to actually talk about renunciation in karma and not renunciation of karma. You don't have to give up doing work. And if you see in the whole Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about action itself that can lead to liberation, or he talks about entanglement depending upon how the work is done or how action is done. So in chapter 4, he concludes with Krishna telling Arjuna to rise and fight. We saw last Saturday. And then chapter 5 begins with Arjuna having again a doubt. Arjuna, gets a doubt, and, he gets a doubt because prior to that, in chapter number 4, Krishna has talked about peace. and Krishna has talked about karma sannyas. So both these, when you couple them with non-reference of fighting, then Arjuna is doubting that Krishna really want him to fight. So the last verse, when Krishna is telling, get up and rise to fight, it is giving it raises a doubt in Arjuna's mind. So Arjuna asked the question, and this question, if you see, is very much similar to what Arjuna had asked in the third chapter. So, uh, so some some like the third chapter and the fifth chapter are similar in the Bhagavad Gita, and the seventh chapter and the ninth chapter are also similar. So, though the themes are similar, when Krishna takes the same theme again, but in this particular chapter, he is actually going to go more deeper for karma yoga. So, if you see where he says that karma yoga is equal to, but easier than Jnana yoga. And then he's saying that by fixing the mind on the Atma, karma yoga remains free from bondage. So, how is karma yoga equal? So, as karma yoga causes bondage and renunciation, then it will lead to liberation. So, then, so here Krishna tells that if one is not uh, fixing the mind on the sense object, and instead he is fixing his mind on the soul, then the karma yogi will remain free from bondage. Then Krishna is saying that when you fix your mind on the super soul, the Paramatma, that time the karma yogi will remain in liberation. So there are two phases. One is getting bound further, and the second is he's getting liberated. So, like, when we are sick, one part is to remove that infection, the virus, or, whatever it is. And the second is to actually, regain your lost strength. So the first part is to prevent the aggravation of that sickness, so that it should not spread further. And the second part is to remove the sickness and regain your lost health. So there is recovery in two parts: stopping the negative and bringing out the positive. So Atma Gyan will help us not get bound further. And Paramatma Gyan will lead us to liberation. So there is Atma Gyan, there is Gyan about your Atma, and there is Paramatma Gyan. And by fixing the mind on the super soul or the Paramatma, then this yogi will get liberation. And that's where then, how he gets liberation. So he has two paths, either the Ashtanga Yoga path or the Bhakti Yoga path. So if he takes to the Ashtanga Yoga path, then in chapter 6, the whole Ashtanga Yoga is explained. And if he goes to Bhakti Yoga, then from chapter 7 onwards, the whole Bhakti Yoga part has been elaborated. So now in this first shloka, what does Arjuna say? Arjun uvacha sannyasa karmana Krishna punaryogascha samshasi yat shreya etayor ekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. So he says over here, Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial? So, now in the purport, he says that. Somebody read the purport.
Shall I, Mataji? Hare Krishna?
Yes, Lakshminarayan Prabhu, yeah, sure.
Yes, Mataji. In this fifth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that work in devotional service is better than dry mental speculation. Devotional service is easier than the latter because, being transcendental in nature, it frees one from reaction. In the second chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and its entanglement in the material body were explained. How to get out of this material engagement by Buddhi Yoga or devotional service was also explained therein. In the third chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on the platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. And in the fourth chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. However, at the end of the fourth chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjuna understands that. Can you scroll, Mataji? Yeah, Arjuna understands that renunciation in knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities. But if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? In other words, he thinks that sannyasa or renunciation in knowledge should be altogether free from all kinds of activities because work and renunciation appear to him to be incompatible. He appears not to have understood that work in full knowledge is non reactive and is therefore the same as inaction. He inquires, therefore, whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Thank you so much. So here he's saying that Sannyasam Karmanam Krishna. He says that when one takes sannyas and does work accordingly, and then he's saying that Yat Shreya, what is beneficial for me, which is better out of this. And he's saying that Tanme Bruhi. So Tanme Bruhi means you please tell me. And what you tell me, Sunishchitam. Nishchit, tell me definitely with, a conclusive definitely. Please tell me what is better for me. So, now he's saying that in the next shloka, now the Supreme Lord starts speaking. He says that Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sannyas Karma Yogascha Nishreyasya Kara Ubhau Tasyo tu karmana sannyasat karma yoga vishishyate. So he says that Rupa Mataji, please read this translation and purport both.
The personality of Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work. Purport. Repetitive activities seeking sense gratification are cause for material bondage. As long as one is engaged in activities aimed at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies, thereby continuing material bondage perpetually. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4 to
Yeah.
6 confirms this as follows.
Nunam pramatta kurute vikrama yad indriya pritaya aprunoti nasad manyata atmano ayam asnanapi kleshada asadeha prabhavastavat abodha jato yavanna jigyasata atmatattvam yavat kriyastavat idam mano vai कर्मात्मकं येन शरीर बंधना एवं मना कर्म वशनम प्रयुंक्ते avidya atmani upadhi yamane pritirna yavanmai vasudevna munchate deha yogena tavat. Yeah, Mataji, read.
People are mad after sense gratification and they do not know that this present body, which is full of miseries, is a result of one's spiritual activities in the past. Although this body is temporary, it is always giving one trouble in many ways. Therefore, to act for sense gratification is not good. One is considered to be a failure in life as long as he makes no inquiry about his real identity. As long as he does not know his real identity, he has to work for repetitive results for sense gratification, and as long as one is engrossed in the consciousness of sense gratification, one has to transmigrate from one body to another. Although the mind may be engrossed in repetitive activities and influenced by ignorance, one must develop a love for devotional service to Vasudeva. Only then one can have the opportunity to get out of the bondage of material existence. Hare Krishna. Therefore, jnana or knowledge that one is not this material body but spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation. One has to act in the status of spirit soul. Otherwise, there is no escape from material bondage. Action in Krishna consciousness is not, however, action on the fruitive platform. Activities performed in full knowledge strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. Without Krishna consciousness, mere renunciation of repetitive activities does not actually purify the heart of a conditioned soul. As long as the heart is not purified, one has to work on the repetitive platform. But action in Krishna consciousness automatically helps one escape the result of repetitive action so that one need not descend to the material platform. Therefore, action in Krishna consciousness is always renun- is always superior to renunciation, which always entails a risk of failing. Renunciation without Krishna consciousness is incomplete, as is confirmed by Srila Rupa Goswami in this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.258.
प्रपञ्चीकटया बुद्धया हरिसम्बन्धि वसन्तः मुमुक्षुभिः परित्यागो वैराग्यं फाल्गु कथयते.
When persons eager to achieve liberation renounce things related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thinking them to be material, their renunciation is called incomplete. Renunciation is complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in existence belongs to the Lord and that no one should claim proprietorship over anything. One should understand that factually nothing belongs to anyone. Then, where is the question of renunciation? One who knows that everything is Krishna's property is always situated in renunciation. Since everything belongs to Krishna, everything should be employed in the service of Krishna. This perfect form of action in Krishna consciousness is far better than any amount of artificial renunciation by a sannyasi of a Mayavadi school. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, thank you. So, over here he's saying that sannyasa karma yoga. If you see, saying that sannyasya karma yogascha, and they're saying that nishreya karav ubhav. So he's saying that Arjuna is asking that what is shreya for me, what is beneficial for me, and Krishna is saying ubhav. He's saying that both of them are beneficial, right? And saying that both of them are nishreya, not shreya, but both of them are nishreya. Nishreya means long term benefit. So both of them will give long term benefit. And then he's saying that tayostu karma sannyasat. He's saying that among these or out of these two, karma yoga and vishishyate, karma yoga is better. And so the point in the Bhagavad Gita is that one should see that one does not get bound in this material existence. So, because what causes bondage is actually attachment. And to the extent one does not have that attachment, to that extent, then there is no bondage. So Krishna is saying that both karma yoga and karma sannyas, both prevent attachment, and both are good, but among them karma yoga is better. And that is why it is better, because karma yoga is easier. And Prabhupada also, if you see, does not focus much on the comparative virtue karma yoga and karma sena, but he focused that we should not get bound in any action of work. So, and even in the Bhagavatam, if you see, Nunam Pramatta, where he's saying that Nunam Pramatta Kurute Vikrama Yad Indriya Pritaya Aprunoti. And so he's saying that Nunam Pramatta. Actually, when you say Pramatta, somebody who is, madmasta, or you can see he becomes intoxicated, in some madness. And then he's saying that Kurute Vikrama, such a person does Vikarma. Kurute means karta hai. No, he does what he does, Vikarma. And then what is this Vikarma then? Indriya Pritaya Apranoti. When one is acting for sense gratification, that is Vikarma. And then he's saying Na Sadhu Manye. That is not good. And then he's saying that Yata Atmano Ayam, why is it not good? Then he's saying that Asnan Api Kleshada Asah Deha. So he's saying that this soul will get another body, and that is why it is not good. So one will continue in the cycle of birth and death. And this asnan, that is the body, is temporary. And along with this temporary body, then what this person will get? He will get only klesha or misery. So that is why asnan api klesha da ashah deha. So we have this material body, and if we act for sense gratification, we show, to the material nature that, oh, I want to enjoy the sense object. So then we'll get another material body. But the material body is actually subject to so many miseries all around, and we will get all those miseries also. Small things we get miseries. Oh, she told me this only, she told me that only. So this material body is giving us uh, uh, two things. It is giving us. It is giving insignificant pleasure also, and insignificant pain. When it gives insignificant pleasure, the pleasure will last only for a few minutes. And when it is giving insignificant pain, then the pain sometimes lasts for few hours, or few months, or few years. So he's saying that asnan api kleshada ashah deha. So it is kleshada, not sukhada. The body is kleshada. So now, then he's saying that how long can a person continue like this? You know, uh, 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 what is that shloka in the Bhagavatam? He says that he says that kshanik sukh, temporary happiness, and mahat dukh. Mahat dukh means lot of this. So he's saying that parabhavas tavad abodha jato. Paradhavas means till that time, parabhava abodha jato, he will remain abodh, he will remain ignorant. And bodha means actually knowledge, and abodha means actually ignorance. So he will remain without knowledge for that time. So till the time this person is ignorant, he will be parabhava, abhava mein rahega. Parabhava. So he will remain, a failure. Why? Because he's saying that yavan jigyasata atma tattvam. He's saying that as long as one does not inquire about the soul, there is some default activity for all of us to do. And if we don't know about that spiritual activity, then we have to do some material activity. And that is why we will be doing that activity. And then what will happen when we'll do that activity then? Yavad kriyas tavad idam mano vai. So he's saying that the mind will be involved in some kriya, some activity. And then what kind of kriya? Then he's saying that karma atmakam yena sharira bandha. He's saying one will act for karma, and when one will act for this, karma or fruit of activity, what will happen to him? Sharira bandha, one will become bound to this particular body. And then he's saying that if you see, actually the soul and the body are separate. Like you have the example that Prabhupada generally gives is that the car and the driver, they both are different. A driver can immediately walk out of the car and can take another car, or maybe even reach home, and he does not need any car further. So the two are different. So, but for the practical purpose, the two souls, right? For the practical purpose, the soul and the body, they have become identical now. So we don't think ourselves as the soul. We think that, I am not this body, but, I am not this soul, I am the body. And, but the soul has come and he has become, he has mixed with the body right now. And here practically means that from our experience, it's very difficult to understand that the soul is different from the body. Why? Because he's enjoying mentally. He's enjoying on a mental platform, right? And the enjoying mentality, it is welding the soul to the body, and because he has this desire to enjoy through the body, so that is why he's saying that he's saying that sharira bandha, he's bound to that particular, he's bounded by that desire to enjoy the sense object. So the desire to engage in fruitive activity by which he can do sense gratification. So sense enjoyment and fruitive activities both bind the soul to the body. But what is the difference between the two? So he's saying that both are similar, sense gratification only. One is directly enjoying with the senses, and the fruitive activity are those that will lead them to more sense gratification. Right? Like somebody may do some, havan, yagya or karma kanda, and some karma kanda ritual, and then he may get some more sense gratification later, and then again he'll do more other activities in this material which will lead him to more sense gratification. So then he's saying that evam mana karma vasham prayunkta, which means that mind will be in always karma vasana, or in control of the karma. The mind will not be fixed in Krishna, but it will be fixed with all the vasanas, whatever you want to enjoy. And then he's saying that avidya atmani upadhiya mane. He's saying that that one will be controlled by avidya. About what? He will be controlled by avidya about atmani, about the atma tattva, about the spiritual reality. And then he's saying that for how long he will be entangled in this way, or how long he will be controlled by avidya. He's saying that Pritir na yavanmai vasudeve. So he's saying that till the time one will not develop priti for Lord Vasudev, he'll not develop love for Lord Vasudev. And then he's saying that na munchate deha yogena tavat. He's saying that uh, uh, that the soul has become bound to the body, and na munchate, he will not become free till what time? Till he does not invoke priti. Pritir na yavan mai vasudeve. So till the time he has not developed priti or affection for Lord Vasudev, he will be bound only. He will not become free. So then what happens when he will develop a priti or affection for Lord Vasudev? Then the mind is no longer filled with this enjoying mentality, which binds the mind with the body. And when we develop this affection for the Lord, then affection for Lord Vasudev, then we become free from this enjoying mentality. And we become free from this material bondage. We started with material bondage, right? That because of madness he's bound. So Prabhupada, in this whole purport, he's saying that to become free from material bondage, and therefore knowledge that one is not this material body but the spirit soul is not sufficient for liberation. Then one has to act in a status of the spirit soul. Otherwise, there is no escape from material bondage. So just knowing is not enough. That, okay, I am not this body, I am the soul. But we need to act also on that particular level. When we act, then there will be liberation. So Prabhupada has explained, acting on the platform of devotional service, or explain acting is performing devotional service. That how when you act on the platform of the soul in devotional service, then you'll be free. So renouncing, which is used in Krishna's service, is not renunciation. That is false renunciation, or he says that it is falgu vairagya. Vairagyam falgu kathayate. So that is falgu vairagya. And opposite to falgu means false vairagya or false renunciation. But opposite to false renunciation is the yukta vairagya. Yukta vairagya is to renounce the enjoying mentality and to use the things in Krishna's service. So Prabhupada often uses actually this statement that actually nothing belongs to us. So what is there actually to renounce? This body is also, not mine. This body also belongs to Krishna. So then he's saying then where is the question of renunciation? One who knows that everything is the property of Krishna, He's always situated in renunciation. So everything, even our body, belongs to Krishna. And only thing to be renounced is the illusion that we have to renounce, that I am Krishna's and Krishna is mine. Ami to, what is that? Ami to tomara, tumi to amar. Ke kije aparadhe. So what else should I actually do? I am yours, you are mine, and that is all what is matters. And so in this way, one will make very much steady progress in Krishna consciousness or his spiritual abandon. So Prabhupada says in this purport that we don't have to renounce action or possession. We have to renounce this misconception that we are the enjoyers. And he's saying that that we are the enjoyers. Actually, we are not the enjoyers. We are the cooperators. And when Krishna enjoys, we also enjoy as the subordinates. So it is not like that, that when Krishna is enjoying, we are left dry in the spiritual world. No, when Krishna is enjoying, because the services that we render to Krishna, and when Krishna enjoys, then the devotee also equally enjoys. So if the devotee wants, and there is a hoda hodi, or you can say there is a competition between Krishna and the devotee in the spiritual world. So the devotee tries to please Krishna and Krishna enjoys. Then because Krishna enjoys, then the devotee enjoys, twofold. So then because the devotee enjoys twofold, then he wants to give fourfold enjoyment to Krishna. And Krishna is enjoying fourfold. So he wants to give eightfold enjoyment to the devotee. And the devotee is getting eightfold enjoyment. So he wants to give 16-fold. And then that's how that competition, keeps on doubling. And that's how the devotee wants to please Krishna. Now, that same principle can be applied over here in the material world also, when we are trying to serve Krishna to the best of our capacity, and when we are trying to please Krishna selflessly, not with any selfish motive. Because in the spiritual world also, there is no selfish motive. There is no sense gratification involved when the devotee is trying to serve Krishna, be it Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, the Gopas, the Gopis, or the Brajavasis, anybody. There is no selfish motive when they are trying to please Krishna. And that is why we have to give up this misconception that I am the enjoyer. And that is why when we understand that the ultimate enjoyer is Krishna, and I have to live for him, I have to strive for him, and that's how the devotee also equally in this world, also in the material world, also get the same enjoyment of the spiritual world. Factually, if you see that when a devotee is living in this material world, he can at the same time live in the spiritual world also. Because Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. Vrindavan is a state of selfless service, right? Because if you see in Vrindavan, what is everybody doing? They are just trying to please Krishna. They are just worried about Krishna. They are just thinking about Krishna's welfare. They are not thinking about their welfare. They are thinking that how this act will please Krishna. What will I do now that it will please Krishna? Or what next step will I take that it will please Krishna? So 24/7, they are thinking only about Krishna's happiness, Krishna's joy, Krishna's enjoyment, and not their enjoyment. Okay, so there are a couple of questions that are plugged over here, and there are raised hands. Vrindavan is a place of consciousness. Consciousness, yeah. So when our consciousness is there that I want to only please Krishna, my heart over here itself becomes Vrindavan, right? Yeah, so I think there are some questions from Krishna Kripa had some question. I think she had raised her.
No, Mataji.
You had some question?
No, Mataji.
Okay. I thought there was a question. Okay, fine. So let's go to the next. So then he says that Gneya sa nitya sannyasi yo na dveshti na kanshati nirdvando hi mahabaho sukham bandhat pramuchyate. So he says that one who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Sometimes we say, "No, I don't like this and I like this. What I did was not right. And what I did is really very nice." Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. So, please read the purport, somebody. Jui
Hare
Mata.
Krishna.
Yeah.
One who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither
The voice
hatred
is
nor
little
desire.
low. Volume is little low.
I'm on the headset. 1 second.
Yeah.
Mataji, is this better?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Okay. One is one who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desire for the results of his actions. Such a renouncer, dedicated to the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows fully well that Krishna is the whole and that he is part and parcel of Krishna. Such knowledge is perfect because it is qualitatively and quantitatively correct. The concept of oneness with Krishna is incorrect because the part cannot be equal to the whole. Knowledge that one is one in quantity yet different in knowledge that one is one in quality yet different in quantity is correct transcendental knowledge, leading one to become full in himself, having nothing to aspire to or lament over. There is no duality in his mind because whatever he does for Krishna. Being thus free from the platform of dualities, he is liberated even in this material world. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So now actually Krishna will clarify this point further, that how one can stay free from bondage. He easily overcomes material bondage. But how does he overcome material bondage? Then is explained in the next shloka. He says that Sankhya Yoga Pruthak Bala Pravadanti na Pandita Ekam Ekam Pyasti Samyagya Ubhayor Vindate Phalam. Rajmalu Prabhu, please read the translation and purport both.
Mataji. Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytic study of the material world. Sankhya, those who are actually learned, say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the result of both. Purport. The aim of analytic study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of the material world is Vishnu, or the super soul. Devotional service to the Lord entails service to the super soul. One process is to find the root of the tree, and the other is to water the root. The real student of Sankhya philosophy finds the root of the material world, Vishnu, and then in perfect knowledge engages himself in the service of the Lord. Therefore, in essence, there is no difference between the two, because the aim of both is Vishnu. Those who do not know the ultimate end say that the purpose of Sankhya and Karma Yoga are not the same. But one who is learned knows the unifying aim in this different process. Hare Krishna. Bhagavan.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So he is saying over here that he's saying that Sankhya Yoga, uh, Krishna is saying that Sankhya, this Sankhya means the process of this jnana, the process of involving in action, and yoga involves the process of action. So, if you see, Sankhya refers to, karma sannyas, and yoga is referring to karma yoga. So, he's saying that Sankhya yoga prithak balaha. Prithak balaha means, he says that these two are separate. Because those people who consider that these two are separate are balaha. Bala means those who do not have knowledge, or you can say ignorant also. They're childish or less intelligent. And uh, as contrary to balaha means, one who has knowledge, who is a pandita. Pravadanti na panditaha. He's saying that, so wise people do not say that these two are different. So, how are these two the same? Karma sannyas and karma yoga. How are they the same? Because he's saying that ekam apyasthi samyaga. He says that when one is situated in one of them, then he's saying that Ubhayor vindite phalam, one gets the fruit of both of them. And then that is where Krishna is saying that both are similar, they are not different, because the ultimate goal of both of them, karma sannyas and karma yoga, are the same. That is that is pleasing the Supreme Lord, right? So this will be more clearer in the next shloka. Let's see. He's saying that Yat Sankhye Prapyate Sthanam Tad Yogerapi Gamyate Ekam Sankhya Cha Yoga Cha Yah Pashyati Sa Pashyati. So he says that, a very nice shloka this is. Yeah, somebody read this. Krishna Kripa, please read.
One who knows that the position reached by means of analytical study can also be attained by devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are. Purport. The real purpose of philosophical research is to find the ultimate goal of life. Since the ultimate goal of life is self realization, there is no difference between the conclusions reached by the two processes. By Sankhya philosophical research, one comes to the conclusion that a living entity is not a part and parcel of the material world but of the Supreme Spirit whole. Consequently, the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material world. His actions must be in some relation with the Supreme. When he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is actually in his constitutional position. In the first process, Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter, and in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna consciousness. Factually, both process are the same, although superficially one process appears to involve detachment and the other process appears to involve attachment. Detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. One who can see this sees things as they are. Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, you are in mute, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
How did it go on mute? So he's saying that detachment from matter, like we are attached to so many things. We are attached to so many people. We are attached to so many things. We are attached to the house. We are attached to our cars. We are attached to our gadgets. So many attachment, and because we are attached, then we don't have time to get attached to Krishna. So that is why when there will be detachment from matter, then there will be attachment to Krishna. Like in the first shloka where I said that when a person is sick, then what is he doing? He is actually taking the medicine also, and he is doing some parhez also. He is strengthening himself also, right? So here is somebody, by a higher way getting attached, or through a devotional service getting attached to Krishna, then what happens? Automatically the lower taste will get detached automatically. Now you see with ourselves only. Okay. Recently somebody was telling that she was telling that we were so much attached for every Saturday and Sunday going for shopping. Every Saturday, Sunday, we used to go around shopping in malls and all. And we used to buy so many clothes and so many things, those things which were not even necessary. But because there is a hollowness in the heart, those people were spending money on matter. And then they're getting more attached with matter. But as soon as they came in Krishna consciousness, they started following devotional service. Then, because now they are getting attached to Krishna, they stopped going only to the malls. And so much of attachment to food and drinking, and so much was there. So now they've understood that, oh, we are saving so much of money. Going to the mall, we were doing so much of expenditure, drinking tea, coffee, liquor, eating meat. So much of money was involved in all these activities. We are saving so much money. And that money only they're giving it as a donation. So when you get attached to Krishna, slowly the higher it is that is there, attached to Shravan Kirtanam and all, then automatically you get detached from matter. And that is why Prabhupada is saying that detachment of matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. Karma yoga and karma sannyas are one and the same. So karma sannyas means what? Detachment from matter. And karma yoga means to link with the Supreme. So what we are doing karma yoga. You're getting attached to Krishna. They are one and the same. So this is what he is trying to say. And then he's saying that uh, he's saying that yat sankhya, that which is obtained by sankhya or karma sannyas. And then he's saying that praprete sthanam, he's saying that the destination, he will be able to attain his destination. And then he's saying that tad yoger api gamyate. He's saying that that is obtained by the practice of yoga also. So then he's saying that when you understand this, then ekam sankhya yogam cha. Ekam sankhya cha yogam cha. He's saying that when one sees sankhya and yoga as both to be equal, and then he's saying that yaha pashyati sa pashyati. So yaha pashyati, so one who sees like this, sa pashyati, one who sees that like this, that Sankhya and Yoga both are equal, then one is the actual seer, one who can really see. Pashyati means to see, right? So there is diversity in two paths, but there is uniformity also in the goal, right? So these two verses in no way support the idea that all paths will lead to the same path. Kahin pe bhi jao, you will lead. So Krishna is talking about two very specific paths over here. The path of uh, intellectual uh, um, retrospection, when you actually think in action. So in action based on Jnana Yoga, and then the path of action which is based on Karma Yoga, right? So both these two paths lead to the same goal. Not that all the paths lead to the same goal. So that is not the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. People very much misunderstand that all the paths are leading to the same goal. No, he is talking about that when intellectually you retrospect, in action, which is based on Gyan, and the action based on Karma Yoga. So that is why then these two paths will lead to the same goal. And, when they say that, uh, that is not the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, because when the scriptural teaching is teaching that this is also not a logical teaching, where Krishna is talking about something different. He's talking about two different paths, and the goal of these two different paths is ultimately to free us from the bondage. He's saying that these two paths can free us from the bondage. But the important point over here is that when will these two paths free us from the bondage? That is the most important part. So he's saying that when they are done with detachment, So whether one has, authentic detachment, or whether somebody renounces the world, renounces all the activity, and, renounces all involvement with the world, or one has detachment and one lives and acts in this world. So if one has detachment, in both the cases, one will attain freedom from bondage. But detachment while doing activity is easier to do. As doing activity is natural to us, so then detachment while giving up the activity, as giving up this activity is also, is unnatural. So Krishna is not talking about the differences. He has already said that, okay, Karma Yoga is better now. He's saying that both of them are same, both of them are leading to the same goal, and the destination that is obtained by Sankhya is the same as the destination that is obtained by yoga. And therefore he's saying that ekam Sankhya yogam cha. He's saying this. So now, how does it work? How does it work out that both are leading to the same destination? So actually, there is generally, what happens? Anything when you conclude, it has a hierarchy. So we have the yoga ladder, right? So in the yoga ladder, what is the lowest? Karma yoga is the lowest. Then higher than that is Jnana yoga. And then highest is the Bhakti yoga. So Jnana yoga is higher. Why is Krishna saying that the two are different? So here they say ekam because both of them are meant for the same goal. So Karma Yoga is also giving liberation, and Gyan Yoga is also, living for liberation or giving liberation. And by practicing any one can attain liberation. So in terms of the goal, Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are similar. Okay, but where, when we saw in the 3rd chapter, where Krishna said that you practice karma yoga because you're qualified for that. He's saying that you act, you're a Kshatriya, you do your karma. And if you think you are qualified for Gyan, then still you practice karma yoga, because you will set a good example for others by it. And then Krishna has allowed the notion that, okay, Gyan yoga is higher than karma yoga. But he is saying that do not practice Jnana yoga. It may be because it may be higher, but don't practice it. By practicing, you will become mithyachari. You will become, dhongi. But here Krishna is taking the discussion on a little higher level. He's going more deeper. That's why I said that the 5th chapter, he is taking karma yoga to a little more deeper level. Even in the 7th chapter, he speaks about bhakti yoga. But in the 9th chapter, again, he will go more deeper. So, Krishna is taking this discussion to a little higher level or a deeper level, which says that, by saying that actually, Jnana yoga is not higher in one sense in the yoga ladder. It may be higher, but not. It is not that Jnana yoga will lead to a higher destination. Ultimately, whatever is meant to achieve by Jnana yoga will be achieved by karma yoga. And by both, you can achieve liberation. So when you say ekam sankhya yogam cha, the person who sees both as the same is actually the true seer. So whether I'm doing karma yoga, whether I'm doing jnana yoga, it is going to lead me to liberation only. So he's saying that is why he's saying that ya pashyati sa pashyati. So the deeper meaning would be that one who sees like this is actually the true seer. So Krishna here is talking about seeing with knowledge. So if you see that when you go to the doctor and you have some chest pain or something, so there is a chest x-ray shown. Okay. So now when the doctor will take an x-ray, when you see that chest x-ray, you won't understand. But when that same x-ray is seen by the Lord, by the doctor, then it is seeing the same thing, but we don't see what the doctor can see. So we see with knowledge, and we see with the pre-existing understanding that we have. So we have to, what we can know depends on what we know. So whatever we hear depends on what we know, then only we will able to connect. So what we can know depends on what we know, because, when we look at that particular x-ray, I cannot understand. But the doctor immediately understands. Why? Because he has a previous knowledge. He has taken training, right? I have not taken training in that. So, like, sometimes, only standalone verses don't tell you the deeper meaning. So all this is indicating in some that piousness by memorizing these Bhagavad Gita verses, that we need to study this more systematically. So a person not doing anything, contemplating and, grave we may feel, he's more advanced than a person engaged in all kinds of activity in Karma Yoga. But it is not so as, the destination is the same. So Prabhupada says that the real purpose of philosophical research is to find out that what is the ultimate goal of life. In the purport, he's saying that what is the goal of my life, even in the 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj says that people do not know what is the ultimate goal. And the ultimate goal is to know Krishna, to serve Krishna, and to love Krishna. This is the ultimate goal. Repeat after me. The ultimate goal is to know Krishna, to serve Krishna, and to love Krishna. So when you love Krishna, so when you know about, you will like to serve him. And when you serve him, you will love him. So for example, there is a girl who's about to get married. Okay, she's of a marriageable age. And there is a particular, you can say, a particular proposal that has come. So now what happens that the in-laws come to this girl's house and they are talking to the parents that, okay, my son is like this and my son is very tall, dark, handsome. He's earning this much and he's so kind. He's so wonderful. And, they describe the qualities of the husband. So now the girl is hearing the qualities of the husband. So she is knowing through Shravan Kriya. Then what happens is when she's hearing about the boy, then she likes to serve him. So when she gets married, the mother-in-law gives her knowledge that, this particular boy, he likes this. So she tries to serve him. She tries to make different nice, good items that he likes. And whatever he likes, she tries to serve him in that way. So when she's serving the husband, that's where she starts loving him. In serving Krishna only you will love Krishna. So when she's serving whatever he likes, and whatever he does not like, she is very much careful about it. And then when she serves him, then she starts loving that. Similarly with the devotee also. When you have knowledge, you will feel like serving. Like, let's take our case only, no? Before coming to Krishna consciousness, where we were serving Krishna. Why? Because we did not have any knowledge only. But when we started having knowledge, we started serving Krishna. And slowly, we started developing that, that you can't say that it's a full-fledged love right now, because the full-fledged love means you completely focus only on Krishna. Then you don't focus on any. The horse's blinker is only on Krishna. But currently, we don't have those blinkers. Our, attention is divided with many people. So, Srimad Bhagavatam establishes that Krishna is the absolute truth. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. But after that, Bhagavatam used the name Shri Krishna and Vishnu to be identical. And they are interchangeable also. Even in the Ras Leela pastime, where there is no Vishnu, where there is no Vishnu, it says that who bears this pastime of Lord Vishnu. So the philosophical point makes it very clear that when we say in the Bhagavatam, the famous shloka where we say that Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. But after that, it does not go into the hair splitting analysis. It simply focuses that on the point that yes, Krishna and Vishnu both are, the names are identical and they are interchangeable. You cannot replace Vishnu with Krishna and Krishna with Vishnu. So sometime, after when you in that in that analogy where when you're watering the root, so after digging the root is watering the root. But someone has to have faith. And if he has heard from the right authority or a bona fide spiritual master, he will start watering the root without digging it also. Right? He does not have to see, okay, is there really a root? Then only I will water. So in both the ways, if someone will water the tree will get nourished. But the second process is more easier and it is time saving also. Similarly, Karma Yoga is also easier. So the body is like the tree and the soul is like the root. So if someone comes to know after Sankhya Yoga that he is the soul, ultimately he has to water the root and perform devotional service. So even someone from the beginning practices Bhakti Yoga, it is the same. without, digging out Sankhya. So, Prabhupada, although, superficially one process appears to involve detachment, and the other process appears to involve attachment. So he's saying that detachment from matter. So when he's saying over here that detachment from matter means what? That detachment from Jnana Yoga. And attachment to Krishna means he's saying over here, Bhakti Yoga are one and the same. And one who can see this sees things as they are. So attachment to spirit in general is actually Karma Yoga. So this is what has been said in this particular shloka. I think there is some hand raised over here. No, okay. There's no hand raised. I thought that there is some hand raised over here. Okay. So let's go to the next. He says that this is a little famous shloka. He says that Sannyasyastu mahabaho dukham apnutam ayogatah yoga yukta muni brahma na chirena digacchati. He says that, somebody read the translation and the purport both.
Merely renouncing.
Atima, please read. Atima.
Merely renouncing all activities yet not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay. Purport. There are two classes of sannyasis or persons in the renounced order of life. The Mayavadi sannyasis are engaged in the study of Sankhya philosophy, where the Vaishnava sannyasis are engaged in the studies of Bhagavatam philosophy, which affords the proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. The Mayavadi sannyasis also studies the Vedanta Sutras but use their own commentary called Satraka Bhasya.
Sharirika Bhashya. Sharirik Bhashya.
Okay, Sharirik Bhashya. Written by Sankaracharya. The students of the Bhagavata school are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. According to
Pancharatriki regulations.
Panchatriki regulations, and therefore the Vaishnava sannyasis have multiple engagements in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Vaishnavas sannyasis have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various. Scroll, Mataji.
Yeah, just give me 1 minute.
Activities in their devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi sannyasis engaged in the studies of Sankhya and Vedanta and speculation cannot relish the transcendental service of the Lord. Because their studies become very tedious, they sometimes become tired of Brahman speculation, and thus they take shelter of the Bhagavatam without proper understanding. Consequently, their study of the Srimad Bhagavatam becomes troublesome. Dry speculations in impersonal interpretations by artificial means are all useless for the Mayavadi sannyasis. The Vaishnava sannyasis who are engaged in devotional service are happy in the discharge of their transcendental duties, and they have the guarantee of ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. The Mayavadi sannyasis sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again enter into material activities of a philanthropic and altruistic nature, which are nothing but material engagements. Therefore, the conclusions is that those who are engaged in Krishna consciousness activities are better situated Then the sannyasis engaged in simple speculation about what is Brahman and what is not Brahman, although they too come to Krishna consciousness after many births. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Atima. So then he's
Thank you.
saying that Karma Yoga is more relevant in Arjuna's context. Why? Because he's saying that mere renunciation would be little difficult, or it would be, distressful, because without performing Nishkarma Yoga. So a Jnani engaged in Karma Yoga, he says that will quickly attain the Supreme Lord. So he says that Sannyasastu Mahabaho. He says that, oh Arjuna, you are Mahabaho. And he's saying, Dukham aptum ayogatah. Dukham aptum ayogatah. He's saying that when one does sannyas without doing yoga, that means one renounces the action. And ayogatah, then one gets dukkha. Why? Because dukkha, because inactivity is difficult and it is unsustainable and it is unnatural. So that is why he's saying that then what to do? Then you do some activity. Yoga yukta munir brahma. On the other hand, if somebody is yoga yukta, such a munir, he's saying, no, such a muni is engaged in activity. Yoga yukta munir brahma. And then he's saying that Brahma na chirena digacchati. So he's saying that such a person attains Brahma na chirena, not after a long time. Chirena is actually long time, but then he says that na chirena, not after long time. He will attain. Adhigacchati, gachati means, and he will attain. So Krishna is again saying that if one does not have connection with the Supreme Lord or the Absolute Truth, dukham aptum ayogatah, he will get dukkha. So when one is detached from matter and one is not allowing to do any activity, fearing that he will be bound, but he will not he will not be satisfied. So it is difficult to be inactive, he is saying. It is difficult to be without pleasure, because with activity only you get some pleasure. And because one is ayogatah, one is not able to connect to the Supreme Lord or the Absolute Truth. And then one will not experience this higher happiness also. So one is neither here nor there. He is dangling. One is trying to, come out of matter, but he's not getting that, he's not getting spirit. So in that situation, one is lost. And one is on, dukkham, aptam ayogata. He's, on the miserable part, a klesha part. So therefore, Krishna is saying that what one should do is yoga yukto. One will soon attain liberation. One will attain Brahman. Brahman is a generic word used to attain the absolute truth. So he's saying that yoga yukto. So if somebody is yoga yukta, or he's filled with doing some activity, such a person, then he's saying that will attain the absolute truth. So Prabhupada said that Gyan refers to Mayavadi, but those Mayavadi will not give ultimate conclusion. That is Mayavadis do not have that this of giving the ultimate conclusion. So, and Prabhupada says that, but Mayavadi sannyasis who are engaged in the study of this Sankhya and the Vedanta, what do? They do only speculation. They cannot relish the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord. they cannot experience because their studies become very tedious for them. They become very tired of this Brahman speculation, and then that is why they take shelter of the Bhagavatam without any proper understanding, and they do not they do not have even a proper comment. They cannot even properly comment on those Bhagavatam philosophies. So if you look at this, if you look at the commentary of the Vedanta Sutra by Shankaracharya, he did not comment on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Ramanujacharya also did not comment on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Madhvacharya has written something about Mahabharata and a little about Bhagavatam, but Bhagavatam is such a profound philosophy which concludes in the personalistic devotion, and that is why Shankaracharya did not mess with Bhagavatam. And since Ramanujacharya was not responding to Shankaracharya, so he did not write on that. Because if you see Shankaracharya, he appeared in the 7th century. And after him, Ramanujacharya came in the 10th century and the 11th century. So, and Madhvacharya came in the 11th and the 12th century. And after that, in the middle of the history, then the Bhakti cult started spreading. So Bhakti was there long ago in the Vedic, culture, and it was present. Just give me 1 minute, okay? Okay. Yeah. मेरे पास 2-3 hot cases છે તમને આપી દઈશ હું તમારા ઘરે છે મંદિરે છે ચાલ તે હોય તો સેવા કરી ચાલ sorry for that. My neighbor had come, and His Holiness Lokanath Swami Maharaj is going to come, so she was asking some help for that. Okay, sorry for that. So then when Madhvacharya, he came in the 11th and 12th century, that's where Bhakti started spreading. And Bhakti was there long ago, actually, when the Vedic scripture was present in the world. But we are talking about this recent history now. So when Bhakti started, the appeal of Mayavad started fading away, or you can say paling away in comparison to Bhakti. So in the Mayavadi path, unless you renounce the world, you cannot begin your spiritual journey seriously. So because you are in illusion, so you have to come out of that illusion. So everybody has to take sannyas over there. So it is very demanding path. And imagine, a grahastha who's attached to his wife, children, and all of a sudden, somebody says that renounce everything and, you become a sannyasi. So it is a very demanding path. And not only demanding, but it also does not lead to the ultimate destination. So Mayavadis were not able to keep people. And also, they were not able to even sustain themselves. So within even this Mayavadi, Bhakti cult begins. So among the Mayavadis also, some people started practicing Bhakti. Not as that, they started practicing Bhakti as the ultimate goal, but they started practicing and also started reading Bhagavatam and started teaching Bhagavatam on the basis of Bhagavatam. Like, for example, if you see, who's that Saraswati? I don't remember his name. Madhusudan Saraswati. In that Vedic line has written a book on the first shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam is commented by the Mayavadis, and nowadays many Mayavadis do Bhagavatam Saptah, Bhagavat Saptahs and all, but they cannot enter into the sweetness of the Bhagavatam. They want to interpret everything, and they almost feel embarrassed by Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. That this man, Sri Krishna, the absolute truth, why is he acting immorally? And they try to explain everything very symbolically, but whatever they teach, what does Ras Leela represent? It represents actually merging of the soul with the absolute. Actually, that is not all what Bhagavatam is teaching, because that is very offensive that the soul merges into the absolute. But they speak on Bhagavatam, they cannot relish the Bhagavatam. Like, we are also reading Bhagavatam every night, right? Aren't we relishing the Srimad Bhagavatam every day, every night before going to sleep, right? They are not at all studying Bhagavatam to understand Krishna or Bhagwan. They are studying Bhagavatam to transcend Bhagwan and become Bhagwan, to destroy Bhagwan after attending Brahman. So that is why they can never be satisfied. They want to overlap Krishna and they want to sit in his position, and which is really not possible, which is impossible, and that is why they cannot be satisfied. So that is the reason there is a strand of bhakti in impersonalist also. Sometimes there are some people having, genuine bhakti is also getting attracted to the Mayavadi path, because they think that those organizations are very prominent and they are respected in people's eye, and they think that I wanted to practice spirituality and these people are doing bhakti, so let me also do bhakti. And this indicates that all people in Mayavadi organizations are not Mayavadis. They are Mayavadis by affiliation. They are not Mayavadis by inclination. So, Srila Sridhar Swami Maharaj was like that. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also referred to his commentary and he glorified his commentary. So, Srila Sridhar Swami Maharaj was not belonging to the Vaishnava Sampradaya. He was a great devotee and an acharya, but externally he belongs to the Mayavadi Sampradaya. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood his heart, that he has given the highest devotional conclusions. But some places his commentaries can be misunderstood. But when we understand the context and the heart of Srila Sridhar Swami Maharaj, then there is no mistake as such. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't approve whose commentary was that? He did not approve Vallabh Bhatt's commentary or attempt to counter and correct Sridhar Swami Maharaj's commentary. But what was Vallabh Bhatt's objection? He's saying that everything is contextual in his commentary. Consistency is there, but because of affiliations, he has to make certain statements. And then Srila Jiva Goswami, he uses Srila Sridhar Swami Maharaj's commentary as a stand reference for commenting on the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he says that Tika iti, when Sridhar Swami Maharaj quotes personalism, Jiva Goswami also quotes directly. And he explains it, but certain places where, because of the affiliation, he has to give some impersonal explanations also. So those places, Srila Jiva Goswami does not refer to Srila Sridhar Swami Maharaj's commentary at all. And he says that according to the imaginary understanding, some people explain like this, but it is not so. And then he gives the actual understanding of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Jiva Goswami knows that how Vaishnava etiquette has to be maintained, which Vallabh Bhatt could not do. And Mahaprabhu told him that I do not want to hear this. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised him quite a bit strongly at that time. So there may be some people who are like, impersonalists, but they are Mayavadis by affiliation and not Mayavadis by inclination. So So these people, when they get proper understanding, then these people will turn from Mayavadi and come to Bhakti Yoga. And if they are given the right understanding. So currently, these Mayavadis do not have the right understanding. And that is why they behave the way they behave like. So this is what Prabhupada is trying to say over here. And a little of my, small buddhi understanding, whatever I have understood from my superiors. So then he says ahead, he says that in the 7th shloka, he says that Yoga yukto vishuddh atma, vijit atma jitendriya, sarva bhutatma bhutatma, kuruvan api na lipyate. So he is saying over here that somebody read the translation. This is a very nice shloka, a very wonderful shloka.
Mataji, can I?
Yeah, sure.
Right. One who is on the, translation. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him.
Yeah, your
Though
voice
always
faded away. Your voice just faded away, Mataji.
Is it better?
Yeah, better now. Yeah.
Okay. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Purport. One who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any Mataji.
Any being as separate from Krishna.
Any being is separate from Krishna, just as as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water on the roof of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches. Or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna, nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. He does not like to hear anything except topics relating to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna, and he does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. One may ask, why then was Arjuna offensive in battle to others? Wasn't he in Krishna consciousness? Arjuna was only superficially offensive because, as he had already been explained in the 2nd chapter, all the assembled persons in the battlefield would continue to live individually, as the soul cannot be slain. So spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the orders of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjuna, while fighting on the battle of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of work. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Mataji. So, what he is trying to say over here, he's saying that Yoga Yukta Vishuddh Atma. He's saying over here that one who works in devotion. Yoga Yukta Vishuddh Atma. One who works in devotion. Then, one who works in devotion means Yoga Yukta. And then Vishuddh Atma. Vishuddh Atma means one who is a pure soul. And then he says that Vijitatma Jitendriya. Such a person who works in devotion and who is a pure soul, and Vijit Atma, who controls his mind and senses, Jitendriya. Okay. Vijit Atma Jitendriya, who controls his mind and senses, then he's saying that Sarva Bhutatma, Sarva Bhut Atma Bhutatma. So now he's saying that Sarva Bhutat, Sarva Bhuta means all living entities. And Bhut Atma, he's saying that such a person is dear to everyone. And then Bhutatma, everyone is dear to him. And then he's saying that Kuruvan api na lipyate. So because he's working in devotion, because he is pure, because he has controlled his mind and senses, he is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. And though always working, then he is never entangled. Kuruvan api na lipyate. Lipyate means entangled. And although he is engaged in work, Kuruvan api na, he is never entangled. So, this karma yogi or the yoga yukta cannot think of any living being as separate from Lord Krishna. Like the leaves of the branches, the leaves and the branches of a tree are not separate from the tree, right? So, this person, this yoga yukta person, he knows very well that by pouring water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed and to all the leaves and the branches. And that is why, because he is working in devotion, he is very dear to everyone. And the next two shlokas will describe, Krishna will of course describe Jitendriya, the detached and the sense-controlled worker. So, who is the doer and yet the non-doer? Krishna will be explaining in the 8th and the 9th shloka. But what I feel is that, okay, we'll just, I think we'll cover this up, maybe. We'll cover this up. I'll just cover this up. Let's see, the 8th shloka. So 8th and 9th are clubbed together. He says that Neva kinchit karomi ti yukta manyate tattvavid pashyan shrinvan prishan jigran asnan gacham swapan shashvan pralappan visrujan grahanam unmishan nimishan napi indriyani indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan. So he says that, somebody read the translation.
Mataji, can I read?
Yes, you can read, Kalyani.
Translation. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them.
Yeah. So, see, whenever you read the purport, no, in the Bhagavatam class, you have heard all the speakers say, purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, we give importance to Prabhupada because by his mercy, we are, reading these purports. So, this is like a little samskara that we develop and we have our gratitude for Srila Prabhupada. Okay? Yeah, read.
Yes, purport by Srila Prabhupada. A person in Krishna consciousness is pure in his existence and consequently he has nothing to do with any work which depends upon 5 immediate and remote causes: the doer, the work, the situation, the endeavor and fortune. This is because he is engaged in the loving transcendental service of Krishna. Although he appears to be acting with his body and senses, he is always conscious of his actual position, which is spiritual engagement. In material consciousness, the senses are engaged in sense gratification, but in Krishna consciousness, the senses are engaged in the satisfaction of Krishna's senses. Therefore, Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in affairs of the senses. Activities such as seeing and hearing are actions of the senses meant for receiving knowledge, whereas moving, speaking, evacuating, etc. are actions of the senses meant for work. A Krishna conscious person is never affected by the actions of the senses. He cannot perform any act except in the service of the Lord, because he knows that he is the eternal servitor of the Lord.
Yeah, thank you so much. So if you see where he says that, like if you see previously what he says, karma yoga is equal to, but it is easier than jnana yoga. And the first 6 shlokas, that is what he's saying. And then he's saying that from the 7th shloka onward, he's saying that when you fix the mind on the Atma, the karma yogi remains free from bondage, right? And how karma yoga is equal, as karma is causing bondage, and then renunciation is leading to liberation. So Krishna is telling that if one is not fixing mind on the sense object, and instead he fixes his mind on the Atma, the soul, then the karma yogi will remain free from bondage. Then Krishna is saying that by fixing the mind on the super soul, then this karma yogi will attain liberation. So again, there are 2 phases. One is not getting bound further, and secondly, he is getting liberated. Of course, when we saw detachment from matter and attachment to the Supreme Lord, when we saw, so again, when we again, that example is that when we are sick, one thing is that we are trying to remove the infection, from the body, or the virus from the body. And the second part is to, you're regaining the strength. So the first part is to prevent that, thing to grow more, or that aggravation of sickness to, take to you to the next level. But so that it should not spread further, right? And the second is to remove that sickness and regain your previous health or recovery. So, it has 2 parts. One is stopping the negative and then bringing the positive, like detachment from matter and attachment to the Supreme Lord. So this Atma Gyan will help us to not get binded further, or not, this Atma Gyan will help us to get ourselves detached from matter. And then the Paramatma Gyan will lead us to liberation. So the Paramatma Gyan will attach us to the Paramatma himself only. So now we are discussing that how this Karma Yogi becomes free from bondage. How will he become free from bondage? By fixing the mind on the Atma, the Karma Yogi is free from bondage. So where where we discussed in this previous shloka, where it says that sarva bhutatma, Kurvan apine lippete. So Prabhupada says that in this, that he says that if you see the shloka, he says that naiva kinchit karomiti. Na eva means definitely not, or certainly not. He says that kinchit, even a little kinchit means, when in Marathi we say, no, kinchitats goshta ahe, kinchit, like, so little, even a little. And karomi, karomi iti. He's saying that I am doing, or I do, you can say, like, and one does not think like this. Karomi iti. One does not, I am doing or I do, one does not think like that I am the doer. And then he is saying that yukto manyate tattvavit. He's saying that the person who is a knower of this truth, manyate. Manyate means such a person thinks that I am not the doer of things, but I am the doer of what? I am not the doer of what things then? He's saying that Pashyan Srinvan Sparshan Jigrahan. He's saying that these are the actions of various senses. Sparshan, these are the action of various senses. The first senses which takes things inward, or are the knowledge acquiring senses, right? Sparsh, touch, Shrinvan, hearing, seeing, right? These are the, or Jigran, or smelling, so these are the actions of the first senses which takes things inward, that the knowledge acquiring senses, where you say, where Pashyan is, seeing, and Shinvan is hearing, and all this. So these are the ways by which we take things inside the body. What are we doing? We are doing, they're going inside, Gachan. They are going inside our, consciousness, going here and there. And then what we are doing is, Swapan, we are dreaming, we are breathing, Shwashan, and then Pralapan, we are talking, and then Visrajan, we give up, we accept, we reject. So these are the various things by which we take things inside the body and send things outside the body. So, and then he's saying that unmission. He's saying that the opening, and there is the nimission, there is the closing. So we take inside and we give outside. And then he's saying that Indriyani Indriya Artheshu Vartante Dharayan. He's saying that this Tattvavit person, what he does is, the Tattvavit person knows that simply these senses are coming in contact with the sense objects, and then nothing more is happening. So Krishna is telling that a wise person understands that when so many things are happening in the body, I am not the doer of those things. Like when we think that I'm speaking, which is true, but it is not complete picture. At a scientific level, understanding in the body that there are different kinds of activities, like consciously doing things, and unconsciously activities like we are speaking. Like, for example, I'm doing something unconscious activity also. Like, for example, unconsciously I'm breathing, right? And there are some diseases where things are happening involuntarily also. In the body, that does not happen like that. Like breathing, they have to remind consciously that I have to breathe. Like, this is there is a disease actually where you tell them you breathe consciously, and then they cannot sleep without that artificial, respiratory system that is put. And if that artificial system fails, then they will die in the sleep only. So similarly, even like, chewing food, as soon as the food is taken, there are so many processes for the digestion of the food. Similar to this breathing of the air, if we have to be conscious of so many things, there would be a big burden on our brain. So we think that these things are happening automatically, but automatic means we don't know who is in control and how things are happening. Automatically doesn't mean the absence of control actually. So automatically means, you're not aware, that awareness is not there. That awareness of control is not there. So then who is controlling? The super soul is controlling. And then that is why Krishna says, no, that Maya Dakshena Prakriti, Surajesa Sarasra, in the 9th chapter. So many things are happening in our body, which are necessary to be happening, but it is happening without our consciousness. So these things we can say that we are not the doer, and science can tell us how many things in the body for which we are not the doers, right? So similarly, when we are wounded, we put an ointment or we put some medicines. But just putting medicine would be of no use if there would be no healing process. We say that the white blood corpuscles are present in the body, and that is why these platelets, because of the platelets, that clotting that which takes place. So some doctor said that most of the medicine is actually entertaining while the body heals itself. So medicines are there. So medicine are not the, actually you can say, the primary cause of healing. It is the body, but the medicine does help, no doubt. But sometimes healing system takes time, and the medicine will accelerate that process. Like for example, when you bleed, right, or you get a cut on your hand, the bleeding does not stop until and unless you put turmeric on it. The moment you put turmeric on it, what happens is that bleeding process stops. So it is accelerating that process. So like even with AIDS, like, okay, so when the immune system will stop working, then the defense system also will collapse. So there are so much in the body for which we are not the doer. And even for the activities which are happening at a voluntary level also, we are not the doer. Like for example, when like my father has Parkinson. So it happens, but we cannot control that hand movement, or we cannot stop. It keeps on shivering. That hand continuously keeps on shivering. Many times, even if he's picking up something, that thing falls down. So he does not have control on that. So like our living, our living in the body itself is also temporary, where sometimes we are able to do something and sometimes we are not the doer. So he says that there is a system in place by which there is an illusion that we are the doer. And when the system changes its way of functioning, then we can do the things. And that is, of course, at a scientific level. So then at a philosophical level, we can say that I as a soul don't have to do so much with the body. Like a soul in the human body, then goes to the dog's body. He cannot do much, but he can just bark. So he's just bounded by that particular type of body, he's bounded by that sharira bandhana. And then the soul, he starts expressing his desire as per the facility that he's got into that particular body. So the body is a mechanism. According to that mechanism, people will work. And when we understand this, we understand that I am not the body. And that is why he says that Indriyani Indriya Artheshu Vartanta iti dharayan. So who is the doer? Who is the karta? The question is that same. If the soul is not the doer, then whose action is he getting? And whom are the scriptures meant for then? So the soul is not the karta. Means the soul is not swatantra karta. He is not that independent doer, right? So we say that the soul gets the reaction, and the scriptures say that the soul is responsible. The scriptures say that you should do this and you should not do this. So the point is not that absolutely soul is a doer. Point is the soul is not the independent doer, swatantra karta. So the soul works in coordination with other elements. it is a dependent doer. So then who is the karta? So for example, if a tree is cut, so the axe is the instrumental cause and the woodcutter is the initiating cause, right? So the axe is the instrument by which the woodcutter will be cutting that tree, right? So both causes are important for cutting the wood. So for actions in this material world, both the cause are important for the material cause, right? And Prakriti is the instrumental cause and Jiva is the initiating cause, right? So in that axe analogy, the axe is the instrumental cause. So over here, Prakriti is the instrumental cause and the woodcutter is the initiating cause. So Jiva is the initiating cause. So the soul, which is in the dog's body or the human body or the horse body, is the initiating cause. It wants to communicate something, but in these bodies, the instrumental cause is different. All these body voice boxes are different. The horse is barking, the dog is barking, the horse is neighing, the human being is speaking. And similarly, cutting wood, someone can cause an, use an ordinary, axe. Somebody can use an electric axe also. So who is the karta? Who is the doer? Again, the question is the same, that who is the doer? So the soul is not the independent doer of action. The other doers who work in coordination with the soul are described. So who is the karta? So if a criminal is jailed, the police is the instrumental cause, the judge is the sanctioning cause, and the criminal is the initiating cause. He initiated the action, right? He did that crime, that he initiated that crime. That is why, the police caught him, right? The instrumental cause. So in the act of jailing this criminal, all three are involved: the criminal, the police, and the judge. So if a soul is suffering, who all are involved then? The material nature, which is the instrumental cause. So like example, the disease. Then the super soul is also involved, the sanctioning cause, like the super soul sanctions, upadrishta anumanta, right? And then the soul, who is the initiating cause. Like I did some karma, and for that karma, I am going to get some reaction. So I get that reaction according to my time, place, and circumstance, and according to the best of my reformation then. So in this way, who is the karta? The karta is all three: Prakriti, Atma, and Paramatma. Prakriti, soul, and the super soul. They all are the karta. So when the sense object is perceived, that input that comes from that sense object, like if I have seen a mobile phone, if I've seen iPhone, right? With that sense object, that desire is perceived by the super soul in the heart. And then the super soul sanctions at that time. That material nature then executes, and that person engages in that sense gratification. And this is how we engage in activities. So who all are the doers over here? The soul is the doer in the sense of the desire, initiator. The super soul is the sanctioner, and the material nature is the executor. And that is why all the three are the doers. So, what Gita is telling over here is that he's saying that naiva kinchit karomiti. He's saying that it means that Indriyani India Artheshu Vartanda iti dharayan. That simply when these senses are coming in contact with the sense objects, So what does it mean? That there are some evitable need of the body which have to be fulfilled, and those are fulfilled, but beyond that there is no further requirement of these senses to try to engage in sense gratification, because the soul is not motivated by this material desire. Okay. Like uh, he's not motivated by this material desire, and the soul is not motivated for this material desire, and there is no further stimulation also for any sensual activities, and that is why the person stays protected, and that is why the person does not get binded. So like, for example, there is an iPhone. Somebody has a normal Samsung phone and he wants an iPhone. Okay. So that material desire is stimulating him, that, oh, buy iPhone, new iPhone has come in the market. Like, right. So, but the soul will say that, see, my requirement is only, incoming, outgoing, and little whatever I have to see, WhatsApp and whatever it is. So then what will happen is that the soul will say, don't require, it's not required. It will not get motivated for that material desire. And then he will not act on it. And that is why he will not get binded. So in this case, what will happen for the detached soul? So actually there is no desire for sense gratification. No, I'm happy with Samsung. Right? Indriyani Indriya Artheshu. Material nature means the senses, body needs food. So material nature, body, which is like the fuel, when the food goes inside the body, person does not think that I will enjoy this food. No. Senses are coming in contact with that sense object, and one may wonder, if the person does not desire, how will he eat food? Yes, desire has to be there, but for eating food will be there, but the desire to, for, where we say no, that people are only eating to live and living to eat. So when there is eat to live, there is no enjoying mentality. I'm eating only to sustain my body. I'm eating only to live. And then there is eating to enjoy. Then enjoying mentality is there, then that can, put somebody into this karmic bondage. He can put that person into a loop of series of bondages, life after life. So this is what he is trying to say, that that anybody who knows this truth, one who is a tattva-vid person, right? Anybody who has this knowledge of Nishkam Karma Yoga, though he's seeing, he's touching, he's smelling, and all these things, he's breathing, and he always knows that the material senses are interacting with their objects, and that I should be aloof from them. And that is why the soul is not the independent doer of the actions. The other doers who work in coordination with the soul are, there. So, now, till here actually, uh, uh, he says that this karma yogi is not the doer of action, but yet he does action. And then in the next shloka, it will say that how this yogi will act for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, or for the sake of the Supreme Lord. So this will be explained in the 10th shloka. So I rest my speech over here. Sorry, there's a little long explanation for this. But if anybody has any query, doubt, questions, you all are free to ask me. Okay, if somebody has no doubts and questions, queries, I rest my speech over here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare
Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.